hopefully you managed to sort some of these out. The reason I was talking about highlighters is because I think it helps to look at that to see where some of these things come from. If you highlight on here, the sum of the two dice is at least 9. Where is that on here? At least 9? Well, there's one that's 9. There's one that's 9. There's one that's 9. Those are all the 9 ones, but if it says at least 9, it's also all these, right? These ones as well. Okay? So it's all those ones. How many of those are there? There are 10, right? That's 10 outcomes. So probability of A, 10 out of 36, right? At least, because it says at least 9. 10 out of 36. You could reduce that if you want. I'm going to leave it like this for now. The other one, black die is 1 less than the white die. Here's the black die. 1 less than the white die. So we want the ones that are, like, what's one example of one like that? I guess the black die is the first one here. Like 1, 2, this one. There's one that's 1 less, I think. And 2, 3. And 3, 4. And 4, 5. And 5, 6, right? That is 5 outcomes out of 36. So chance of that is 5 out of 36. There's an overlap of 2, right? The chance of those things happening together, there's only how many outcomes there? This is the overlap between the two of them, right? This is 2 out of 36 because there's 2 of them right there where both of them have happened. Both of those things have happened. Okay, this is the overlap. The or is the kind of putting the two of them together, the union of the two of them, right? One or the other or both. You can't just add 10 and 5 because when there's an overlap, it's not going to give you that. If you know that the yellow is 10 and then 3 more outside of that, it's going to be 13, out of 36, not 15. Okay, not 15 out of 36. Okay, make a clearer note of that, I would say. The shortcut to get that is if you know this, and you know this, and you know this, you can get it from those numbers. If you just add 10 and 5, but you know you've counted the overlap twice, you can subtract it once. So if you know you've counted the overlap twice, you subtract it once, that's the shortcut. Okay, that's going to be the shortcut when we get to talking about OR a little more specifically. And then the last one here, probability of not A. If A is 10 out of 36, even without knowing anything about it, not A is the rest, right? 26 out of 36. Its probability of not A is 100% or 1 minus probability of A. You can take 36 out of 36 and take away 10 out of 36 to get this. What does the event not A represent? Well, if this says the sum of the two dice is at least 9, what different ways could you explain that with words? What different ways could you describe that? Not A. So not at least 9. Less than 9. 8 or less. There's a lot of different ways you can say that. 8 or less. Less than 9. Make sure you realize the difference between something saying less than 9 or 8 or less, right? Or maybe not the difference between those, but if someone says 8 or less than 8, those mean different things, right? Anyways, let's look at the second one here. Second one just shows it's just some random unidentified situation with a Venn diagram there showing you those things. If each of those 13 outcomes is equally likely, what's the probability of A? Probability of A is this. This is the probability of A. A is that, right? There's how many? 4 out of 13. Okay, that's probability of A. Probability of B is all of those, right? 5, 5 out of 13. Again, realize you don't just count these ones because you also have to count those. It doesn't matter if something else is true as well. If you want not A, where's not A on here? If this is A, where's not A? Everywhere else, right? All of this. Doesn't matter if it's inside or outside of the B circle there. It just matters that that's not A. All the stuff that's in pink there. How many things are outside of there? 9, right? 9 out of 13. The same goes for B, right? If this is B, not B is everything outside of there, right? All of this. Okay, that's not B. Doesn't matter again if it's inside or outside of that A circle. So that's 8. 8 out of 13. Now this A and B, A and B, where's that? Right there, right? That's A and B. I guess if I was following my colors before, it should be green, but 1 out of 13. A or B, where's that going to be? It can be A, or it can be B, or it can be both, right? So how many is that? 8? 8 out of 13? Again, it isn't just these two added together because there's an overlap. If there was no overlap, you could just add them together. But since there's an overlap, it's going to be that plus that minus the overlap. Now the hard two are these because you really have to think about what they mean. Think about what those mean. With this line over top of the whole thing here, think about what that means. Not A and B. If you know what A and B is, what is this then? Everything else, right? So what is this number going to be? It's got to be 12 out of 13, right? If A and B is 1 out of 13, not that has to be 12 out of 13. If you look at it on there, A and B is right here, so not A and B is everything else. Not and, right? It's not the and, it's not both. Basically what this means is not both, right? Because this one means both. This thing means either or both, right? This and means both of them, so this means not both of them. So it's everything else, right? It's all of this. All of that stuff. All the other 12 possibilities. This one causes problems until you start to either think about it's the complement of this, because there's just putting a line over top, not whatever that is. What's the number got to be then? If this is 8 out of 13, this has to be 5 out of 13. If you want to draw it on there, this is one or the other or both. So then this is everything else outside of here. How would you use everyday words to describe what that means? Like, you could say it's not either one. What's the word for that? Neither. Looks like a dumb word when you write it all by itself. Are we okay with this? I hope. Again, I haven't given you tons of questions. There's a couple here to illustrate the concept. This has to happen, okay? You got to do something. You really should be bringing your textbook to school here and using it when we're in class. If you do not have your textbook with you, what I would recommend is you look ahead at this, at 7.3, because we're starting to look at a shortcut to getting the and the or. As a matter of fact, I think this might not be a bad idea to do this right now, and then you can work on textbook stuff on your own since we only have 10 minutes anyways.